LAFCO meeting July 18th, 2019.
Yeah, I know.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right.
Did you press it?
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Haggerty,
Here.
Commissioner Spandorio,
Here.
Commissioner Marchand,
Here.
Commissioner Thorne,
Here.
Commissioner Miley, Commissioner Johnson,
Here.
Commissioner Wieskamp,
Here.
Commissioner Halbert, Commissioner Valier, Commissioner Van Heater Leopold,
Here.
Commissioner Pico.
Here. Okay, I guess we have a quorum, so we will go to public comment. A time in which you can speak to anything that is not on today's agenda. Maybe not. Looking for a motion on the minutes for May 9th.
So moved.
Good, it was moved, no, it was
I'm
moved by
sorry, who
Wieskamp
moved?
and it's seconded by Marchand.
Okay.
Is there any objection to that motion? Passed without objection.
Oh, excuse me. So for item number 5, we have contract planning services with planning firm Lanphier Gregory. This item is for the commission to consider entering into a 24-month contract with the planning firm Lanphier Gregory. The contract will allow for 3 additional 1-year period extensions as well. As of June 30th of this year, Alameda LAFCO's contract with Lanphier Gregory has expired. Staff would like to continue the relationship with the planning firm, given that the firm has experience working with LAFCO, knowledge of the county, as well as CEQA expertise. A draft of the contract can be found in attachment 1 of the staff report, and the cost of the contract is at a not to exceed amount of $25,000 and reflects the commission's approved budget for the 2019-2020 fiscal year. And the $25,000 is spread out over, let's say, a 5-year period. So it'd be $5,000 for each fiscal year. So staff recommends the commission approve the contract with Lanphier Gregory for as-needed planning services and authorize the executive officer to negotiate any additional terms and conditions as needed.
Are there any questions? Okay, let me try a couple anyways. When was this contract first bid?
The contract was first, I believe, entered in June of 2014.
Did we do a competitive bid 14?
We did do a competitive bid, and Lanphier Gregory was chosen by the commission.
So this, I'm curious as to what kind of work we can get done for $5,000 a year.
The $5,000 is based on the previous fiscal year's work. Usually it would just be making sure that our CEQA determinations are in line with the CEQA guidelines. Maybe a little project that I would like Lanphier Gregory to do on our ducts and identifying ducts in the county, but it would mostly be just application review.
I'm trying to be careful, but Rachel, I wouldn't think you would do this unless county staff has already gotten to you and taught you how to do this. But there used to be this old trick that you would do a contract for $25,000, actually $24,999, and then by the end of the 5 years, that was a $250,000 contract as an extension. This is the direction we're planning on going here, is it?
I had no idea about that. It's good to know, but no intentions.
No, it's not good to know. Forget I said it.
If I may,
Are there any other
Supervisor,
questions?
if I may, over the time of the contract, we have not. The contract was originally for $25,000, and we haven't. Their work has not come up to that unless it was involved with the MSR, which then we adjusted their contract to deal with the MSR. But the usage on that contract hasn't warranted it going over $25,000.
I mean, the only thing I am concerned about, I'm not going to hold this up because it's not a very big amount, but they've had it for 5 years, now they're gonna get it for another 5 years, that's 10 years, and we've only did it once. And that's a little troublesome to me, but it's not a lot of money, they've done good work for us, so I mean, we should keep our eye on that in the future. So with that,
I'll move to approve the contract and authorize the executor to sign the contract.
we have moved by Marchand,
Second.
by Johnson, is there any objection to the motion? Motion passed without objection, thank you. We will move to item 6.
Item 6 is a report on the financial audit for the fiscal year ending 2018. As directed by your commission, we engaged Harshwall and Company, a local audit firm from the county auditor's audit pool, to conduct an outside financial audit of the finances for the fiscal year 2018. It's the first audit that we've had since 2006, but they found no deficiencies in our internal controls, no instances of noncompliance, and they didn't find there were no financial findings. They did confirm our fund balance for that year at more than 500,000. It was just a regular audit. We provided significant amounts of testing material that they asked us for, and we came up all clean. So if you have a copy in your packet, and if there are any questions, I can answer those.
Commissioner Pico, followed by Splendoria.
Do you know why they put the carryover amount as income this year?
The carryover amount, we kind of went back and forth about how they're characterizing how we carried forward, and some of that had to do with the fact that because we didn't have an audit for the prior year, but there was some, for fiscal year 2018, there were actually some deposits that will, in a regular thing should have been deposited in the prior year, but so it was recognized as revenue in 2018.
Not 500,000 though.
No, but the 500,000 is the cash in the treasury, and that's the that is your fund balance.
Maybe it's a change in accounting principles since I was involved. But we're showing the changes in net position, the revenues, the agency apportionments of $1,082,000, and that's really misleading. I think that there's probably a better way to have shown that, because it really wasn't income for us in that year.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I wish the auditors would really answer why they did that.
Yeah. Okay, we'll make a note of that for future reports.
Commissioner Splendoria, I'm sorry, are you done, Tom? No, go ahead.
No, that was my main concern. It's just I think it misstates the position to a third party looking at it. Georgine may have some different ideas.
No, I agree.
Commissioner Splendoria, followed by Commissioner Marshall.
Thank you. How often are we required to have a formal audit?
I believe in our policies, it's every 2 years.
But we haven't had one since 2006?
Yes, correct.
And why is that?
I
Just didn't
have.
get to it.
Some of it, I think, was a misunderstanding with where our outside audit was happening, and whether it was unclear apparently as to whether that was part of the county's audit. But the auditor made it very clear and confirmed in writing that LAFCO is not and has not ever been part of the county's external audit. So
And I know that's abundantly clear in our new MOU that's clearly on us. So what do you anticipate being our process if we're going to have an audit every 2 years? Are we going to, engage, go through a process to make sure we have an auditor on?
So after my experience with this firm, I completely agree with how the revenues were displayed, and there was some back and forth. So I would like to go back to the commission with the RFP process to perhaps choose another firm. And with that firm, I would like to have at least a 5-year contract with that firm. to handle our audits.
I'd like to defer to Commissioner Pico, as an accountant, do we need a 5 year contract, or can it just be, when we need an audit, we can go out?
Well, that was one of the things I think that we discussed over the years that I've been here, is whether or not we could just rely on the independent audit that was being done at the county and their internal controls. And I think we finally decided that we needed to do it, and that the expense of doing it was, not significant compared to the guarantees and the certainty that everything is straight.
I guess my experience in the private sector is that you don't necessarily have to enter into a 5 year contract for an auditor when you can switch
Right.
whenever you want. So that's my only observation.
My only thought on that, and I understand, is it would just be to have an auditor to be familiar with LAFCO and our books and our accounting system, to not have to kind of re-explain and show them all of our books. But that will be something that I'll present to the commission, and we can decide wherever, if we want to do a bid process every year or stay with one firm.
My question was 2006.
So you're good. So go ahead, Commissioner Johnson, and I'd like
Okay, so the general practice in special districts is to do an audit every year and to hire an auditor for a 5 year period. After 5 years, the typical special district will go out to bid and process. The reason for the 5 years is just sort of like what you said. It takes the auditor a while to get familiar with your operation. You don't want to get too familiar. That's why the 5 years.
So, this has been, maybe I don't understand the process, but did we have commissioners involved in this audit? I mean, did the auditors meet with commissioners, talk to them first, see?
It was purely a financial audit, and they just they sent us the test criteria and the file. They got the overall reports, and then they picked out specific line items that they wanted us to pull for more detail. But they didn't meet with any commissioners.
So this is, for me, and I think it's getting where Commissioner Johnson is, this is kind of an irregular process for me on several levels. First level being that normally when a auditors, have they done public agencies before?
Yes.
They're on the pool for from the county's pool of auditors, and they have done audits for various programs in the county.
Yeah, because normally the way it works is in all of these special committees that I sit on, they form a committee. The auditor will meet with that committee. They'll talk to them. They'll ask them if there's any areas of concern, things that they should look at, and then the auditors go off. They do some auditing, and then they come back and they actually do the audit. They report the audit to the committee. I'm trying to remember if it's in closed session or not. I don't know 100% for that, but I don't think it is. But they report to the committee outside of staff even being there. And then they give comments, and then they go away, then they write their final audit report after working with the staff and everything. So this is a really irregular process for me. I know that's the way CTC does it, and MTC, and all the committees that I sit on, they bring the commissioners in and work with them. So I don't know what we can do for this one. I am in trouble too. I think Tom mentioned it, that the firm that did the audit is not here presenting it, and they should be here. We should be able to ask them questions at the minimum at the end of the audit, but like I said, we should have been brought in at the beginning of the audit through a committee. So personally, I don't know if it's a big deal. Whatever you all want to do is fine with me. I would prefer that we hold this off to the next meeting, and we ask that this firm, who was paid to do the audit, and not that we can't present it, they do a fine job, but it's their work product, and then have them come in and give us a report on the audit and go through it with us. But if y'all are comfortable approving this one and asking that we do a different next year, I don't know that we do it every year. I think, I want to say it's every 2 years at other agencies. I'm not saying that you guys don't do it that way. But I don't know, what's the wish of the commission? Commissioner,
We have annual audits. I think most agents do. We do go for multi-year contracts, but we did this year decide, when they had brought it forward, that we would have a special meeting. It was the executive committee as an ad hoc committee that met with the auditors separately, closed session, and went over it. And everything was fine, but we felt that was an additional thing that we needed to do. And so we added that to it. And we do go out then for a bit, here it is.
Comments?
Commissioner Spendario, and then, you want to go first, Georgine?
Oh, okay.
He's already gone, you go, ladies first.
Okay. I agree with Ann, that's what we've done at DSRSD. It's difficult for the auditors if you don't do it annually, because they can't look back and compare audited numbers if you jump 2 years. Second thing is, we went out for 3 years, and the same with Ann. We meet with a committee, the board is involved, staff isn't. So this is definitely different. But since we haven't done it since 2006.
We're inventing a new
Believe me, I
system.
applaud staff as they did it. I mean.
But I do think it's very untypical not to have them here to make their report.
So
I
do you
think
want to hold off on that, or do you want to continue this item until the
we
next?
need a
meeting?
motion for that.
Do we need a motion to continue the item and ask if the auditors come in and present?
Yes, you should take do a motion. I don't know, is
So
mine
you
on?
wanna make
Yes,
that
it is.
motion? All right, Commissioner Spendario?
I'm supportive of that, but I also would like to have you come back with a process. I mean, I agree with Georgine, and probably Tom agrees with this too. When you skip years, it's a problem in the audit, because they have to relearn,
Sure.
bring it up to the, whatever they can actually review. So I don't know if it's a 1 year or a 2 year. I would prefer, maybe you do ask a few other LAFCOs, maybe for some reason all the LAFCOs do 2 years. Maybe that's just I would just say come back with. And the second thing is, just to follow what Scott was saying, I know like for nonprofits or a lot of private companies, they have audit committees that do a lot of this. I mean, you don't necessarily have what's called an executive committee or the entire board, but that there's an audit committee made up presumably here of 3 commissioners that would have the interface and get it built up to where it can be presented to the entire commission. So I'd ask you just to take a look at that and develop a process.
Okay.
I'm fine whether it's 1 year or 2 year. I wasn't trying to advocate that we not do 1 year.
It would be extremely unusual to do it every year, and not to do it every year.
Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah.
I wasn't advocating where I was just
Well,
telling you.
it's almost a new process. It's sort of we've been out of the habit for whatever reason, so I think we need to decide what process we want and get it together by the next meeting.
Anytime we haven't done anything for 13 years, it's probably good to look at how you're doing.
Oh, I think it probably is.
So,
And I don't see why, if you want all of us, or you could have the policy and budget committee meet with
Yes.
them before.
that would be fine.
That would seem to be logical.
Again, I'm coming from private, you would never do that private. It would be a separate audit committee. You would never combine it with another.
Okay, I'm
That's
just
fine.
saying,
Maybe
the park
somebody
district
should make
did
a
an ad
motion.
hoc committee.
Somebody should make a motion and ask that we continue this. In the meantime, I may give me the authority to appoint a committee to meet without staff present with the auditors and talk to them. So I can do that if you want. And then tell me who wants to be on it, and then I can.
I'll make that motion to continue this to our next regular scheduled hearing to approval of this particular item, and also to empower the chair to appoint a committee to develop a set of processes for our audits.
Is there a second? Or is that also to meet with I think the second was where? John, okay. So was that also to have this committee that gets set up, meet with the auditors? Is that what you mean? This auditor?
I'm not so sure, we're so far along, maybe we can just have the auditor come in and ask questions.
Okay, we can do that. We can do that. That's fine.
Scott, again, we had this ad hoc committee meet before their presentation. And so it's really, if the committee you appoint could meet an hour earlier, they would get it before.
No, I think what Spud is saying, he wants the committee that's appointed be the committee that sets up the process for future
Okay.
audits. So who wants to be on that committee? Mr. Pico, thank you, since you're a financial wizard. Georgine, one more. Thank you, Spud, for offering. So Spud, Pico,
Why is it the three
one
people
more.
actually have accounting background?
Yeah. Good step.
All right, so that committee
Can I
is,
ask
you
a
have your committee.
clarifying question? Is that going to be an ad hoc committee
Yes,
or a standing audit committee?
it's an ad hoc.
It's an
for
ad
now.
hoc.
For now, okay.
For now, okay. All right, so is everybody clear on the motion? Is there any objection to the motion? Motion passed without objection. Thank you. Item 7.
Thank you.
By the way, thanks for doing the honor.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for getting us going.
Of course.
Item 7.
Thank you, Chair. So this item before the commission is an update on the City of Alameda Healthcare District at the request of Commissioner Georgine from Leopold at the commission's last regular meeting. The staff report was actually provided by LAFCO analyst Teresa Rudy Smith, so thank you. Overall, though, the district continues to remain active. It was initially formed in July of 2002 as an independent special district with its jurisdictional boundary coterminous to the City of Alameda. The district was established to own and operate Alameda Hospital, which is located in the city. Upon formation of the district, Alameda Hospital's debt was transferred to the City of Alameda Healthcare District, and voters approved a $298 parcel tax assessment to supplement the debt. In November of 2013, the district entered into a joint powers agreement with Alameda Health Systems, in which the Alameda Health System assumed operational control of the hospital. So now the City of Alameda Healthcare District supports the ongoing operational and capital needs of the hospital through the assessment and collection of its authorized parcel tax. And the City of Alameda Healthcare District is currently constructing its own website, independent website, and holds bi-monthly meetings and bi-monthly board meetings. Its last meeting, I believe, was on June 17th of this year. And it informs its constituents of whatever issues or updates through an annual community report. And a more in-depth analysis will be provided in 2024 when the commission authorizes a healthcare services study that will be examining all the healthcare related services provided within the county. And basically the report is being presented just to accept and file to let you know that it is still active, and I will turn the item to the chair for any commission discussion or any questions that the commissioners may have regarding the update.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions? Georgine?
So all that the board does is collect money and pay it over?
Yes, and so yeah, overall, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
I'm sorry, Georgine, can you repeat your question?
I wanted to know if all the board did was collect funds and pay them over to the county. Sounds like
Not pay
that's,
enough.
it sounds like that's all they do. They don't do policy, they don't really operate a healthcare district.
It's going to be part of the study.
Yeah.
It's part of the study.
Yep.
Just write the check over.
Interesting.
We'll look more into it in 2024, but
Okay.
you know.
Commissioner Johnson?
Would this be a district that eventually would be transferred maybe to the board of supervisors to consolidate the?
That would be one option to consider.
To me, that should be the option.
It should never happen.
Yes.
That formation should never happen.
It should never happen.
It's the past.
It should be dissolved and the money going, can't believe I said
Right.
that, but the money going straight to the county. This is silly.
Well, it could have to do with the bond use. Where the bonds were.
Maybe.
So are we gonna look into this more?
Unless you know the history.
So, it depends on the commission. We have a healthcare services study, but that won't be until 2024. So, you know, we can maybe look into it sooner and change the study schedule to review that, or just hold off onto it now.
You know, in the past, when there's been a question about an agency, we've asked for a report from that agency.
You've done a fair review.
Yeah, and even, so we could say, let's get a report from them and have them make it here at a meeting.
We could.
Okay.
Why not?
Is that a motion?
That's a motion.
Wait, is this the next step to the file? Can we go ahead and make a motion that we do this? Andrew?
I think you can just give direction to staff that we should
All right.
have them come
So
in.
don't make the motion, just for future,
Okay.
so we'll give direction to staff that you asked about the city of Alameda, the Lincoln County Healthcare District report and bring it to us.
Given a time on it?
And within the next 4 months, 6 months,
4 months.
4 months?
It'd be a little tough.
Hmm?
They meet bi-monthly.
Tom?
I just had a question. I mean, they were incorporated in 2002. I mean, I can remember that was one of my very first LAFCO meetings with Alameda County Hospital District. Did LAFCO authorize the approval of this district in
You know, it's funny
2002?
you asked that, because I was gonna ask the same question, but I was afraid of the answer.
I mean, I don't know what the answer is.
I don't think we did, I don't think it was ever done, but I guess you can look into that, and if we were ever supposed to.
Because, you know, there was that whole thing about Alameda County Hospital.
If you look into the history of the
2002, whether they were going to be incorporated or not, stay in existence, and I can't remember now exactly, but the date 2002 sticks in my mind, because I know I was on the board here at that time.
Well,
But it's a good, I mean, your question.
Let's
I
get
think
more.
that we would also like to look at the fact is, were we supposed to vote on it? We vote on it, kind of how this whole thing came about.
History.
The
Yeah,
history.
It seems like it's probably a 4 to 6 month process.
Okay.
We'll see how you do.
Okay.
Okay?
This year.
Okay, so the recommendation is to accept and file, so it's really no action, so we'll just do that.
Okay. Fine.
Item 8.
So this item is for the commission to consider bills that are indirectly impacting LAFCO, LAFCO's duties and interests as identified by Calafco. Staff would like to give just a brief rundown on the status of bills that may be of interest to the commission and other bills that are impacting local agencies. One being Assembly Bill 1822 is Calafco's omnibus bill, and this proposes technical edits to LAFCO's law and further improvements on streamlining outside area service extension statutes. The commission approved a support position and authorized the executive officer to submit a letter to the author at our last regular meeting. The bill passed the state legislature on June 18th, and the governor signed the bill on June 26th. For AB 1253, this was sponsored by Assemblymember Rivas, and this seeks one-time grant funding for LAFCOs to pursue reorganizations or recommendations following municipal service reviews. The bill, which requests $1.5 million in grant funding, is now parked in the Senate Governance and Finance Committee, where it will stay until next year. We have to figure out the budget allocation for that, so it's on hold right now. Lastly, AB 600 is a bill that would allow for the extension of services to disadvantaged unincorporated communities, which we know as DUCs, in lieu of annexation. Overall, it'll create issues with orderly growth and development, just kind of giving out outside area service extensions to these areas, and will create some confusion and contradiction in LAFCO law. So the bill remains on the Senate floor as of right now for a third reading, and we're just waiting if there's any call to action from Calafco if we need to submit an opposition letter. And with that, I'll return the item to the chair. The report is being presented for just commission information and any discussion to follow.
Okay, any comments on this report? There you have it. There's no comments. You got it, it's an easy one. Okay, so then we will continue to move on, and we are moving to item 9, I believe.
Thank you, Chair. So Calafco's annual conference is scheduled for October 30th to November 1st in Sacramento. In time for its annual business meeting at the conference on Thursday, to be held on Thursday, October 31st, a call for nominations of the Calafco Board of Directors have been announced for coastal region seats. And these include 1 city member seat and 1 public member seat. So nominations are due by September 30th, and the nomination packet is included in the staff report as attachment 1. So if any of you are interested in a seat on the Calafco Board of Directors, please let us know, either staff or the chair. And additionally, Alameda LAFCO must designate a voting delegate by September 30th as well. The delegate may be a commissioner, alternate commissioner, or executive officer to partake in the board elections. So with that, I'll just ask the commission through the chair to advise staff or the chair on any board nominations and select a voting delegate ahead of the September 30th deadline.
Can we meet before then?
We do meet before then.
Okay. So, is anybody wishing to be the voting member?
Oh, good.
Yay.
I've done it for around 2 years.
How did you do?
How I do?
Did you do a good job?
Yes, I did okay.
Nobody
No
said you didn't.
complaint.
All right.
I was at the meetings.
Good.
That's good. I don't know if that's where I want to spend my Halloween, but okay.
It is your
It might be safe.
It might be an interesting meeting doing it over Halloween. So are we supposed to also talk about who wants to run for positions? Rachel?
Excuse me, Chair.
Are we supposed to be talking about anybody who may want to run for positions too?
Yes, if
Is anybody interested in that?
I've done it before and really enjoyed it, but
We want to do it again?
no. Times.
I guess you didn't enjoy it too much.
Well, I did. It was enjoyable, but there's just so much stuff going on right now that I gotta get done.
I think you've got a lot going on in Leopold.
All
I
right.
don't have time to bandwidth.
So we don't necessarily have to have anybody run, right?
No.
All right, well, if anybody changes their mind before the next meeting,
Yeah.
Feel so inclined.
let the executive director know, and if you would CC me, I'd appreciate it. But for right now, Georgine will be the voting delegate, and we can move that today. And if anybody decides they want to run for something, let us know and we can put it on the next agenda. So we need,
I'll move Georgine to be our voting delegate.
okay.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any objection to that motion? Motion passes without objection.
Thank you, Georgine.
Thank
Um,
you.
Item 10, matters initiated. Good. Informational items.
So for current and pending proposals, there's currently 1 active proposal on file that remains under administrative review and is awaiting hearing. I believe we'll have that come to the commission at our next meeting in September. That is the Dumbarton Quarry annexation into Union Sanitary District. And we're just tying up some little loose ends. There might be another parcel that is included, but everything is set on schedule for September. So you'll be looking for that then. In regards to the progress report on the work plan, here the commission has a progress report for the current fiscal year that ties hopefully the key objectives from the strategic plan and other administrative and planning duties. Major projects underway is still the MSR on wastewater, water, and stormwater services. Staff has received an update from QK Consultants. They were only waiting from 1 city, the city of Berkeley, and will provide data, from the city of Berkeley, and they will provide at least an agency profile on the report, hopefully, I believe, by our September meeting. Other projects that are kind of underway are LAFCO presentations and outreach within the county, digital archiving of files in our GIS mapping tool. That should be completed before the end of the year.
Okay. And then you have the annual conference, which is
Uh,
following.
Commissioner Pico just has one.
Go ahead.
Just wanted to know what's the update on the office meeting?
So, thank you. So, at the moment right now, we are drafting our lease negotiation with CDA, and Andrew's working on a draft right now. So hopefully we'll have something ready mid-August, and then we can get a move-in date.
Okay. All right, so the next meetings of this commission will be August 1st. The policy and budget committee will be, the regular meeting will be September 12th. So with that, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
No audience, slow us down.
Feedback's happening.